Are we trying to do this spoiler free, or are we just talking?
No. Okay, we're gonna be getting into spoilers. So you guys who don't see us yet but are listening, spoiler alert!
Hey, we're here,
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PCR Pop Culture Renegade.
And look who's back!
Boom.
Sorry, guys. It's been a busy holiday season.
It's been so.
It's been so busy. It's been so busy.
So today you're hanging out with Sammy Locke and
Josh? Yeah.
Is that? Do you know who you are?
I think.
Josh?
You just said it. It's been a long holiday season.
We have Josh Goldman on one side, and on the other side we have
Jordan.
Jordan? Like the country?
Giordano.
We have a country here.
I'm glad you went country and not Michael Jordan, because usually.
No.
I was named after the river. For those of you who are curious.
I wasn't, but now I know. So today we're talking about the brand new movie that Netflix is trying to make out of basically make a franchise out of it. It's gonna be their first
blockbuster.
First blockbuster franchise.
Well, I mean, this was a $90 million production.
Yeah.
Which is like, here's the thing: if it was $100 million, then I call it.
Then you call it a blockbuster?
Like, it has to be 100 and over, otherwise it's just
mid-tier. Does it? Is that like
where like really the definition of a blockbuster?
Like, I've never seen those rules listed someplace.
The way the rules work is from like 0 to 20, it's like low mid-tier, and then from 20 to 60 is about middle, and then 60 to 99 is upper tier, and then 100 million is that.
Wait, yeah. Is this you in your head, or is this actual legit?
It's half legit. It's half legit. It's half legit. It is right to a certain extent, but the numbers are a little different.
Well, I mean, I know that there's like SAG ultra low and then low budget and those kind of things. But I didn't realize that there was like a hard and fast rule for this is not a blockbuster.
No, there actually is. Realistically, it's 0 to 2 is low budget, 2 to 60 is mid. And then from 60 on.
That's a big range for a mid-level.
Yeah,
it is.
You mean if I can get $3 million together?
You're a mid. Yeah.
I made a mid-tier movie.
The reason being is because
that's a low budget. Like for me, like the term blockbuster doesn't really refer to how much money was spent on it. It's really the type of movie that it is, and the time frame that box office take and when it's being
box office take is going to be a thing on Netflix.
I mean, we can argue the merits of it all day long.
It's all semantics.
It's all semantics. I mean, anyone worth their weight in salt is going to say it's a blockbuster thing, and it is. With that being said,
Netflix first blockbuster.
Yes, Netflix first blockbuster has gotten a lot of flacky reviews. I think it was Cinema Blend or CinemaWire or IndieWire. One of these independent groups are saying it's one of the worst.
Oh yeah, the worst. People have trashed it.
Film of 2017.
Not people, critics. Yeah, critics have trashed it.
Well, critics specifically say this is the worst film of 2017. And
no. There's some horrible movies that came out this year.
Okay, I read a review last night of the movie that said basically it was made by an algorithm and they were trying to check off as many things as possible. Buddy cop movies, fantasy epics, crime thriller, sci-fi thriller, gritty drama, action adventure, and Will Smith. And like, how are all some of those things bad?
Right? Okay. So for me, like this movie, if I was to pitch it to someone, this would be 48 Hours meets Lethal Weapon in like World of Warcraft.
What did my mom called it Bad Boys with Elves last night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But like Will Smith's character is kind of like Nick Nolte was in 48 Hours, where he's not racist, but he's not racist either.
He's evolving. It's like an evolution of
racism.
I do just have to say, since you brought up 48 Hours, that has one of my favorite character introductions in a film ever. When you meet Eddie Murphy's character and he's sitting there singing Roxanne. Like, you know everything you need to know about that character in that moment.
Well, here's the thing. So before the show started, I looked up comments on YouTube, or not YouTube, but Facebook, on what people thought about it, and it got a lot of good user reviews, but it also it got like the worst bad reviews too. Like one of them was, "I'm not watching this because it has witchcraft in it." That was, I couldn't believe.
I mean, I wouldn't even consider that like a legit review.
It's not.
That's someone who's just like, this goes against what I believe. I'm like, okay, so don't watch it.
Then don't watch it then. Shut the fuck
it's like,
up.
so does Harry Potter then.
And then another.
That's what I mean. I can't think of a single movie that doesn't have some kind of demonic reference in it.
Right?
Another one said that it has Will Smith in it who didn't vote for Trump, so I'm not going to watch it, which. So the thing is, there's a lot of flack, but in the very wrong direction. And the thing is, watching the movie, I found it good. Like not. I mean, it's good. It's not great.
It's a movie, not a film. Okay. If
Like-
you want to watch a film.
For me, for being like I mean, if I'd paid to go see this in the movie theater, I probably would have been a little disappointed.
Nah, I wouldn't have.
But
I also have Movie Pass though. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, so that helps. But for it being a Netflix movie that was included with my subscription, which I'm not even paying for because T-Mobile covers that. Thanks, T-Mobile. You know, it's not bad. You know, yeah. You know, it's like HBO. Like, you know, if like some made-for-TV HBO movie came on and you watch it, and you're like, all right, you know, that was okay.
I would say that this is better than an HBO movie.
I mean, it depends on the HBO. Like, HBO's put out some really good stuff.
Well, that's why I hesitated with saying that, because like HBO is also responsible for.
But maybe like the ABC Family, you know, like whatever event that they used to do, like or a sci-fi original movie. Like, this is better. This is better. I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like Sharknado and like Anaconda versus Giant Snake or whatever. You know, like those movies do
for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. They're fantastic, but not in a good way.
If I had seen this in the theater and legitimately paid for it at a matinee,
yes,
I would have been very happy.
Yeah.
If I had spent $15 on a nighttime movie, still would have been happy.
Yeah,
but not as.
I mean, listen, like Joe, myself, and Jessica back in the day when we were doing our Price of Admission podcast, we paid to go see After Earth.
Oh man,
this is leaps and bounds better than After Earth.
2 hours and $15 you're never getting
Never.
back.
Yeah, no, that was that was such a horrible day too, because it was like, I don't remember what else came out that weekend, but we did a double feature. It was After Earth, and I want to say maybe like White House Down, or something like that. And it was just so not good.
Yeah.
So about that, I had medium hopes for this movie, because I really liked the premise before I watched it, but I also don't have faith in Will Smith anymore.
Right.
And I went on his IMDb to like look up, you know, his movies. It's the best movie he's done since Hitch, hands down. I will pull it up right now.
Wait, wasn't like Men in Black
3 like after
it
wasn't that great?
I don't.
Men in Black 3 wasn't that great?
I would say I don't know if I could if I would say that this was better than.
I Am Legend was after Hitch.
I don't think it was.
It was.
Was it?
It was.
I have to look it up.
I mean, I Am Legend was good.
2005, I think, or 2006. I Am Legend was 2008.
You know way too much about the timeline of Will Smith movies.
It was 2000. Okay, I Am Legend was 2007. So he's.
You know what?
When was Hitch?
Renegade.
When was Hitch?
Okay, no, I lied. It's the best movie he's done since Hancock.
Oh, I love
it. Hancock was good.
It was I Am Legend, then Hancock, then Human Contract, Secret Life of Bees, Lakeview Terrace, 7 Pounds,
You didn't like Secret Life of Bees?
Or what?
Karate Kid, This Means War, Men in Black 3, After Earth, Anchorman 2, Winter's Tale, Annie, Focus.
Wait.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Actually, Anchorman 2 wasn't that great.
No.
The first Anchorman was good.
No.
The second Anchorman was just too much.
Anchorman 2 was good. It was just a decade too late. That's the only
line
that it had.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was
by the time it came out, it was like, the thing is, between 2000 and 2010, comedy just changed.
Yeah.
I stand by my statement. It's the best movie he's done since Hancock.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
I'm not going to not agree that.
But I would say this was. But see, I didn't hate Suicide. I didn't hate Suicide Squad. I don't think it was a great movie. But I would say this was probably I would say
I'm not gonna pay for it.
I think Bright was marginally better than Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Like I think was better. I don't hate Suicide Squad like everyone else does.
Either.
There were definitely things about it that were not great.
It had serious tone problems.
Yeah, but I thought it was okay, and I thought this was okay too.
I just think Margot Robbie's hot. I mean, it's just.
Suicide Squad was hot topic the movie, and I say that as an employee.
Hot
topic corporate.
And as a person who was a punk kid in high school, it was like everything I wanted.
It was fun. I mean when what's it, Slingshot or whatever the hell his name was, like went off and died for no reason. I was like, okay, that's stupid, but you know, whatever.
Let's wrap it back into Bright. Bright. If this movie, here's the thing about Bright. Bright, if it was done maybe 10 years ago, it would be amazing. The thing is, filmmaking between 2000 and now is actually very different. If you watch the best example,
I think it would have been worse received, honestly.
Yeah,
I think
me
it
too.
probably
Like,
would have been a better film, but I don't think audiences were ready for it 10 years ago.
I think if this was the pilot for a TV show, people would have been like, "Holy fuck, this is really good."
Maybe.
Well,
no, I think it actually would be a better TV show.
Netflix has already greenlit a sequel and possibly a third one, so they are going to
now
I've pull this out.
So I've heard rumors that the next one might be a prequel and not an actual sequel.
Actually,
I've heard multiple things. I've heard a sequel. I've heard they might do a TV show. There are lots of different stories flying around, but Netflix is doing.
I mean, if they can keep up the same level of quality that this movie had and turn it into a series, I think that would be okay.
Yes, it was.
This movie was expensive.
It's probably the most expensive thing they've done so far.
But I mean, if you look at like again going back to HBO, like what they spent on the first season of Westworld, like spending $90 million on this first pilot, and then maybe dropping that down to $4 or $5 million an episode. That's not that much different.
Here's the thing: what I mean by look at filmmaking 10 years ago, and McDowell actually made the point for me. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and the thing is. The first Harry Potter, if you watch it, it's cheesy.
Oh,
well, I mean, the kids. The kids also weren't great actors in the first movie. They got better. They got a lot better.
While we're streaming, they look at themselves in the monitor.
There were two. The first two movies were garbage considered today. If you put Bright at like 2002, 2003.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It would have been great.
I'll give you that.
I agree.
We wouldn't have the conversation of is this good or is this bad? It is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with older technique. And this movie has a lot of older technique. Whether it's even the ending where it's predictable. If you watched 10 years ago, you wouldn't be saying, "Oh, it's so predictable."
Well, yeah, because
I saw that shit within the first 15 minutes.
Well, the thing is, moviegoers didn't care about that shit 10 years ago. They
I
really
did.
did.
No, I think people did. But also, I don't think like that type of ending was as prevalent as it is now. So like we would have been 15 years before.
Do you really think so?
That I mean, it's still super obvious.
The second they got to, and only a brat can handle the wand, and there's not that many human brats. I was like, okay, so Will Smith is a brat, and he's gonna get the wand, and he's gonna fix all shit.
It's a 1 in a million. Okay, they planned it. The thing is,
as
long as they did. The thing is, I'm just glad they didn't do like the M. Night Shyamalan thing, where it's, I have a theory. I am a brat. You know, I'm glad that was.
Yeah. But I also I did enjoy the scene like after because what kind of threw me off a little bit was we had that first scene with the introduction of Will Smith and the orc partner played by Joel Edgerton.
He was great.
He was good. He was really
good. I thought he was really good. But like so we're introduced to Will Smith in that scene where everyone's being handed out their assignments for the day, and he walks up to the captain and he's like, "So can I get a different partner? Can we fix this?"
Sorry.
Yeah. He's been around for a while. But then from there, he just kind of he evolves and like he actually became a character that I liked.
Well, my question is, and they totally let this part go, total plot hole, but like in that scene where he's like, "Give me another person," and then she says, "Nobody wants to ride with you." Why? He seems like an otherwise.
Right. See, that's the thing. Yeah. She's like, nobody wants to ride with you, and nobody wants to ride with him. So they're both together. But then later on, when they actually find the wand, and like all the like we knew the dude with the mustache was dirty. Yeah. Like I mean, we knew that from the beginning.
There's always a stash dude who.
And I feel like that guy always plays a dirty guy.
Oh, yeah,
like I've seen him in a few other things. But then all the cops show up and they're like, okay, so here's the deal.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah,
they're all terrible
and,
people.
Well, and the chief is there, who you thought, okay, no,
Margaret Cho,
Margaret Cho, who I thought, okay, she's like one of the she seems like she's on the up and up, and then you find out, nope,
they're all awful.
Nope,
they're
all dirty.
Every last one.
And in terms of this movie, it's definitely like a call to kind of what's happening nowadays. With the.
You know what? That's why I thought I wasn't gonna like the movie.
Yeah. So here the image that's up here is of the scene right after they found the wand, and like just that like. There's that scene at the end when they're all talking to the feds about what's going on, and what was his actual name in the movie? Jacoby. Yeah. So when Jacoby is explaining everything that's going on, he's like, "Oh, he just turned around, bang, bang, bang," and just like took all the cops out like one by one. he's just like fanboying over Will Smith as his partner. It was just,
really
I mean, that was
scene.
fun.
But to what you were saying, it does mirror what happened today, and I actually thought it was handled really well. One of the reasons I thought I was not going to like this movie is because I thought it was going to get really ham-fisted with the racial allegory, and it wasn't. It was great.
Yeah, no, it was more the class system than
it was more, I would say, class allegory than it was race. And even so, it still wasn't ham-fisted. Yeah. You could make those conclusions yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Just beach over the head with
right. It was like, here's the world we're living in.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, we're going through Elf Town. Like, all these people want to do is, like, shop and do whatever.
Honestly,
yeah.
I wanted to see more elves. I did want to
see more elves. I wanted to hang out in Elf Town.
I felt like it was just kind of put to the side. Maybe we'll see more in the second
bougie,
one. But
I liked it.
But the one thing I noticed, actually more or less out of all this movie, the gangsters. There's a lot of gangsters in this world, and they're not. I wouldn't say they're inherently bad people, which is weird. The thing is,
I mean, it's the same as in like look at like Breaking Bad. Like people like Nacho and some of those other guys.
Well, the thing is, the gangster aspect, like there was a lot of humanization there. Where, not to say that the race is human, they're orcs.
Who is it? Poison, the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah,
He reminded me a lot of like Tuco and Tuco's grandfather, and just that whole dynamic of okay, these are people, they have families, they're doing what they kind of grew up in.
Well, more importantly, they never said once, "I want the power of the one for power." It's I want this one to help the community. Yeah. It was a lot of different like. I'm in a wheelchair. I want to walk again. Like, just let me do this, And then with the orc gangster, it was like, I have this party where we all mingle together and all the races get together and everything's great, and you guys fucked it up. Like,
so let me ask you a question about that, because like I'm not sure like where I missed this and when it was explained, but what does it mean to be blooded? Because that was the thing with Jacoby.
They did explain it.
Was that he wasn't.
So being blooded and non-blooded in the orcish clan society, to be blooded is to have an act of heroism attached to your name. And so he's unblooded because he hasn't really, I guess, Jacoby hasn't really done anything, and that would make a orc warrior, prideful or have stories made about him. And we see this actually twice.
And his teeth were shaved down.
Yeah,
they mentioned that a couple of times.
Yeah, basically trying to human wash, not whitewash, but human wash. That's the best way to put it. He tried to human wash himself to be better, to be normalized in society.
Yeah,
because the orc realm is marginalized.
With the filing down his teeth so that he would fit in more.
Yeah, he's a marginalized person trying to fit in mainstream society, and his people will give him.
They really didn't. And he becomes a police officer. He's the first orc police officer, and neither the orcs or the humans appreciate that.
Right. So what did you think about the whole thing with? So the whole thing starts out with Will Smith's character, Daryl. Daryl Ward.
Okay, I remember his first name.
He was just coming back to the force because he had been shot by an orc, and everyone was saying that Jacoby had let the orc go because they were like clan brothers or something, and we later find out what the actual deal with that was that he lost the guy. And he found some kid that was just like tagging inside of a wall and helped him escape so that he wouldn't get shot down. Yeah. So like being able to see where he was coming from too was like just like the two different sides and everything that's going on in this world is like they did a really good job in this movie of world building and actually making.
That was the first note that I took when I was watching it. You know exactly what world you're in about the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they did such a good job with world building and just dropping you in the middle of it and making you understand this is where we are and this is what's going on.
And one thing I really love about this is like there's not really much of a good guy bad guy scenario.
It just is what it is.
Because we have I think about 5 different parties. You have bad elves, you have good elves, you have bad cops, you have good cops, you have and
orcs, you have gangsters,
and you have like gray, relatively neutral gangsters, and it really that part of the world kind of I feel like turned itself on its head. It's different. It's a different take.
They did a really good job of demonstrating gray area and honor in this movie. Because going back to the story about Jacoby and the orc kid, it's kind of he explains what happened. The person who got away from me, and I came up on this kid, and I knew it wasn't the guy who shot you because they smell different, and orcs have heightened sense of smell.
Right. Yeah. It was like that's
Yeah.
not something that got lost when we
Yeah,
evolved.
you know, he's like, and there's no way that a jury would ever believe me. So what was I supposed to do? You know?
Right.
I couldn't let this kid get murdered. And so then it comes back around when these other orcs are about to kill Jacoby and Ward, and it turns out it's that kid. And
Right.
the kid is honor bound, and he says, "I can't kill him. He saved my life. I'm not doing this."
Well, it's very Training Day is what that was.
That scene went in a completely different direction than I thought it was going to as well. Because after the kid was like, "Nope, this kid saved my life," I thought that the gang boss was going to be like, "Oh, well, you saved my son, so."
Yeah, no.
Nope, shot him right in the back.
No, I will let my son continue to have his honor, and he doesn't have to kill you, but I'm still going to kill you.
But then they Deus Ex Machina it.
I saw that Deus Ex Machina coming. I saw it coming.
No, it was kind of.
It was coming.
There's a lot of unpredictability in the second half of the movie. Like we know what's going to happen in the second half. It's just
So let's get into some specifics here. Like, what are some things that you didn't really like about the movie?
I thought the story itself was great. The dialogue, though, was kind of...
The only problem I had with the dialogue is actually in the first part. Everything else wasn't bad, it wasn't good after that. But like the very beginning, you're an officer. This is what an officer does.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so like that's
very stilted. Stunted.
Yeah, there was a little stilted.
Blocky, little blocky.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest issue with it. Some of the dialogue was just blocky and stilted.
Yeah.
But it produced one of my favorite movie lines of 2017. Chitty bar gunfight die.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Will Smith isms in the script, and I was really happy about that.
That whole scene when they're in the titty bar and he's like, "Do you really want to die here?
Yeah.
Is this where you want to
die?"
die?"
And you know what? The funny part, when it came up and they went, I was like, "Really? Are we in a titty bar right now?" And I was like, "Well, it's a cliched LA buddy cop movie because every Los Angeles buddy cop movie has to have a titty bar scene."
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, again, you get your Will Smithisms. I think my favorite one was actually at the very end where it's like, you know, "Hey, Jacoby, fuck magic." He's like, "I don't know, I still think it's kind of cool."
Yeah. I mean, that was great. One thing that I was a little disappointed with was towards the beginning when they rolled up on the weird dude, the bearded dude,
the weirded guy,
yeah, who was part of the Society of Life or whatever it was.
Shield of Life.
Shield of Life, something like that. And they had that whole scene in the car where this dude is telling Jacoby in Orcish that, you know, like he's chosen for something, he's going to do something better, that Will Smith's character is blessed, and that he's destined for something. Obviously, that played out during the course of the movie, but that never came back around. Like, that guy just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, and it did.
The conversation, like Jacoby never brought that conversation up.
Yeah, it was 100% foreshadowing for the sake of foreshadowing.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it would have been better if they had brought that back. They didn't necessarily need to bring that guy back around, but Jacoby easily could have turned to Ward at some point, like later on when all this is going down, being like, "Fuck, now I know what's happening."
Well, no, they did.
You remember that dude that was talking to me?
Well, no, they did.
They touched on it, but they didn't specifically reference that guy in the
conversation.
conversation.
They didn't have
to.
Because
when Jacoby came back, he was, "Oh, it's the prophecy." And what was the old orc's name? Jakarta? Something? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, but there's a graffiti about him, and he said that he was coming back and blah, blah, blah.
And the thing is, we didn't... one of the things that kind of hung me up, but I realized why they did it, we didn't get to see no Dark Lords. No Dark Lords happened.
Because there's going to be a sequel.
Because it's going to be a sequel.
I was okay with that. I was like, you know, we don't need to see whoever, like, there doesn't need to be a big battle, like, because the way that would have played out is
it would have gotten lame.
Yeah, Will Smith would have had the thing, and now it would have been like a
Voldemort.
Wizard fight. It would have been a wizard fight again.
Yeah.
We don't need
that. What I didn't, the one scene that I just really didn't like, and you keep referencing it, was the one right before that guy when they go on the ride along like through the shitty neighborhood with the orcs, and he's like, "What side are you on?" Like, the editing in that scene was terrible. The music was bad. Like, just everything about that scene.
They try to do I feel like a Training Day thing.
Yeah, right. It tried to be really gritty and like Training Day-esque, and it just didn't fit.
Well, I mean, David Ayers is the guy that's behind Training Day.
He was?
Yeah, he did Training Day. He did End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, End of Watch was good. I like that movie.
And he's done a bunch of like movies that were like in this genre, this style. So the evolution moving into more of a fantastical realm fit for him. But this definitely didn't.
This makes sense. He did SWAT because there are lots of shots in this movie that reminded me of SWAT.
You know what kind of, like the beginning really, like now that I think about the beginning, it really interests me because they set it up in a very unique way where it's like he walks out of his house to deal with a fairy, right? And there's like all these people on the front yard right next to him, like, you know, these, and he's even referencing these are gangsters, these are who these people are. And he doesn't care. He's like, hey, what's up? Like, they're just neighbors to him.
Have you ever lived in the hood?
I mean, it's San Bernardino count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on what part. That's normal. I mean, I
oh no,
I didn't.
I did not grow up in the hood. I went to church in the hood though, and that is very normal.
No, it's very.
I grew up outside of a ski resort, so
That's the whitest thing you've ever said.
Well, no, I had the.
I mean, the area that I lived in was pretty white.
I had white boy gangster next to me, and they did the porch thing, but it wasn't like 20-30 deep.
I grew up in Palos Verdes, but I went to church in Watts.
Yeah.
So that was normal.
That's bad.
So like you know Big Bear obviously, right?
Yeah.
So imagine living like an hour out, not even an hour, like 45 minutes outside of like Big Bear in like the suburbs.
What are you on, like Crestline or something?
No, I was outside of Philly.
Oh no, wonder you're a dork. There's nothing to do up there.
Yeah, no,
you had to get into sci-fi.
There was nothing like the biggest thing that people did around me was like after school, not even after school, but they would go and hang out by the roller rink.
Wow, what
that
we got white bread
did.
America over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like San Bernardino, mean streets. It's kind of, and it's really, you know, it's really bad when you go to Moreno Valley at a sketchy party and they ask you where you're from. You say San Bernardino, they don't mess with you. No, dude was
in
like
Moreno Valley of all places.
Go into Moval, dude twice my son's like, where are you from, motherfucker? He's like straight up, and I'm like, San Bernardino. He's like, oh shit. Yeah, he's straight up. Go ahead. I'm like, damn, I got street cred. Fuck yeah, dude.
But you know, like this brings up an interesting thought. So, like, you know, like a lot of these movies, they do take place in like Los Angeles or New York or, you know, like Miami or something. Like, have you ever seen The Burbs with Tom Hanks?
No.
A long time ago. I saw it when I was a kid.
Something like that would be interesting. Like just like the super white bread neighborhood that's just like, but you know, you've got neighbors that are orcs and like just like random people. It's just like regular everyday life.
Sure.
It's just like,
here, like, anyway, I want to reference back to that first.
Sorry, I took us on a tangent.
What I liked about it was very, like, I want to say like real Americana type thing.
Yeah.
It felt that, like these characters feel very lived in.
It felt honest.
Yeah. If these people felt very lived in, and that's what I really like going back to the gangsters and, you know, the cop living next door. You know, everyone keeps it like even with all the blood and violence in this like movie, it's still very grounded, and I really appreciate that coming from a director's.
Talking about the next door thing, like in the very beginning, when he's still at home. And the fairies like doing his shit outside, and like his wife's like, "You gotta go kill that fairy," and like we didn't see the fairy, so like we saw the shadow flying around. So I was like, "He's gonna go kill Tinkerbell." I was like, what you know, what's wrong with fairies? Like,
dude,
what are they doing? And then we get outside,
it's a piece of shit.
And this fairy is like a fucking Reese's monkey with rings, like, you know, it's like one of those like Wizard of Oz type things. And I'm like, all right,
dude, I was hoping that it was life size. Like if it was life size and it's just like flying around and just banging on shit outside, that'd be so fucking funny.
That would have been so horrible to see him kill it though. Like that would have been visually a terrible thing to see.
It would have been so funny, and it'd be even better if it like spoke English and everything. Like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck you, I'm a fairy. And he just like beat this shit out.
But I mean, that would have like all out made him a completely racist character.
It would have been, but I'd say this, like in my stupid Neanderthal horrible mind, this would have been the funniest part of the movie.
Speaking of making him all out racist, I really enjoyed when, you know, even though he doesn't like Jacoby and he's, you know, a dick, he still tells his kid like we respect everybody and, you know, blah blah blah, and he sends his kid outside. That was rad.
Word. Yeah, no, very much so. Okay, let me ask, let me just kind of move the conversation along a little bit. So, what, I know, there's so much. We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
I just want to talk briefly, where do you think the sequel's going to go? Not just Dark Lord, I mean, that's obvious, but I mean, what else do you think is going to happen?
There are a lot of different places where this could go.
Yeah, because I mean, it could be another like this was a self-contained story on itself. So what?
They didn't leave dangling threads. Yeah, but there's so much to explore in this world. It could be about anything.
They've already talked. The thing is, we've seen dragons flying around casually around the city, like it's no big deal. We've seen we've had people talk about dwarves. We've had people talk about like different mythical creatures. Yeah. And maybe this becomes like a Once Upon a Time kind of movie setup where it's like they have all these different.
Oh, don't say that. Once Upon a Time got terrible.
No, that got really bad.
Well, no, it got that, but it was good.
I think something to me like political intrigue is always like something that I'm interested in. You know, so obviously in the sub setting there would have to be like a bunch of like action to break that up, but like something within like the elven world or something, like where they're, because obviously we know that the elves are the ones that are basically the purveyors of magic in this world. That they're the
high class society,
right.
The deep state, if you will.
So something with them and like maybe digging a little bit more into the magic, I think would be really cool.
It would be really interesting, maybe to see like a war between nations dealing with magic. Because I mean, apparently these even said with these wands, these are nuclear bombs, literally.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it would be really interesting to see like, you know, the United States has this many wands.
Well,
Russians have this many wands.
That could be interesting.
It would be interesting. I don't think they'll go that route.
Oh, no, they won't.
What the dangling thread that we do have is that Will Smith, you know, Jacoby or Ward and Jacoby now have always had targets on their backs because it's the first orc police officer. Now they've been awarded medals.
Right.
They've got an even bigger target on their back.
And no one really knows what actually happened.
Nobody knows what actually happened. But we have this fact that, like, Will Smith is a magic user. He can control the wand.
Yeah.
So
that would be interesting. Migdalia is asking how Noomi Rapace was.
Who's that?
Noomi Rapace.
She was Layla, the bad elf, right?
Yeah. So not the elf that was traveling with them, but the bad one. The bad one.
She was a badass.
I thought she was hot as. I did.
Oh, come on,
I did.
Sam.
No, it is a dude answer, and I have no problem. I have no problem duding it up. Okay. The thing is, I liked the fight scenes with her. I don't think that. I mean, if we're talking Dungeons and Dragons level of like characters, there's no way she's able to do these throwings and like she's throwing people double her size over her head and across the room.
Fuck you. She's got magic.
Yeah, and this is the fictional world.
Yeah,
I know.
What I appreciated about that is that when
real.
you have a character who is, you know, can lift 3 times their body size and is throwing people around and magic and shit.
She took
how do you fight them? And I really appreciated how they did fight her. They drove a car into her.
She took
they like set her on fire.
She took on an entire SWAT team and won. No,
she's got magic, bitch.
They got guns.
She's got magic.
They got guns.
Let's talk about this for a minute. What were your favorite action scenes?
That's a good one because there's a lot.
Like for me, that scene in the convenience store was probably.
I think it's probably one of the convenience stores.
Well, either that or the titty bar. I mean, the titty bar was really good.
I like the car chase too. When they first leave the barrio.
Oh yeah,
Sorry if that was offensive. I used the word barrio.
I like the club scene. Club scene was really cool.
The titty bar fight,
No, not the titty bar. The one before the titty bar.
Oh, the orc party.
The orc party was fucking cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too. But what I really liked about the convenience store thing was that the elf dude in the car just kept ramming it into Jacoby.
Yeah,
like that was his way of getting him out of the way and keeping him out of the fight.
He kind of reminds me of like a skinnier. Anyone ever played game Hitman or watch the movie?
Yeah. I know.
Reminds me of that guy.
He does seem like the skinny dude from Hitman.
Yeah, like
there's the one thing. Well, not the one thing. One of the things that really bothered me about this movie was the fucking fake driving. Which is a pet peeve of mine. Like, if you guys don't know, anytime they're driving a car in a movie, they're generally not driving that car. That car is on a trailer, and they're just riding
it's a side
in it.
profile.
Yes, that's a side profile, right? But like, so you have to be really good to fake drive. They were really bad at fake driving in this movie. They were never looking at the fucking road. They're always just staring at each other. And like, okay, I get it. The car is on a trailer. You're not actually driving it.
Although
God damn it, look at the road.
My favorite fake driving scenes are the ones where there's a green screen behind them. And like just like back in the old days with
I was gonna say, have you watched any old movies?
Like Twilight Zone episodes or whatever, you just like can see that.
One of my
right
favorite movies of all time is Rebecca, Alfred Hitchcock. And there's a scene where they're fake driving in it, and it's a green screen, and he's doing like this, like.
Well, I mean, every Alfred Hitchcock movie, like every Alfred Hitchcock movie that has a driving scene.
Have you ever driven a car? Nobody does this.
Well, actually, to be fair, my first car was a 1983 Mustang convertible.
And you drove like this?
And
the alignment was off?
The alignment was off, and the tie rods were, like, bent out of shape, so they were like bananas. So I had to do that in order to keep the car actually straight, because it just kept weaving, regardless of what I did.
Okay, I got a question. Now that he's been blooded, Mr. Jacoby, do you think that will come back up in the sequel?
Yes, for sure. It has to, because it was such a big plot thread.
Well, yeah, because now he has a higher image within the orc community.
Yes, now. He's also been awarded a medal as a police officer. He's going to be more highly regarded among humans too. And I feel like there's got to be a conflict about this coming back around, Because even though he got that medal,
well,
the other cops don't have to like him.
Do you
They
think,
don't
like,
have to like him.
if the next movie does end up being a sequel, do you see...
That's what I want. That's what I hope.
Do you see them introducing more orcs as cops because of him?
Here's what I think. Here's what I think will happen. I think that now that he's blooded, I think that the human community is going to give him more scrutiny, actually, because it's like, oh, well, now your clan blooded you.
Exactly.
Now you're one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, no, I think that will become a nice little plot sticker for the next one.
I mean, what would be super interesting, I think, to me is if maybe in the next movie, if Jacoby got framed for something, and now, now they have to go out and prove that he's actually innocent.
Yeah, that could happen. Can we? This popped up in mind. Can we talk about the chick that was plastered on the wall? The Genova looking motherfucker from Final Fantasy VII.
I was super confused about her because in that first scene, you're like, I was like,
what the fuck
was she
happened?
killed? But no, she was like turned into that and she was alive, and then she got killed. So I've like was she like what?
She was
what was the purpose of her?
Sent by Noomi Rapace's character
to clean house,
and go get Layla, the elf that was hanging out with Jacoby and
right.
Because Layla was part of their little coven, and she was a turncoat, so she had to be killed. And then I guess instead of killing her, Layla like suspended her in that wall thing.
Right.
Like
and
she cut off here and then splat. And
well, because I thought she was like a spider. Because it looked like it was like like her the top half of her body.
It was like a weird web thing.
Yeah. So
but
it was really weird looking.
It legitimately like creeped me out, and the reason it did because if anyone's ever played Final Fantasy VII, it reminds me of the first time we see Genova, and it looked like that it might have been inspired by that.
Yeah.
And like I sat there, I'm like, holy shit! And I thought she was dead, like but she's alive. And it was like, whoa.
Yeah, well, I mean, this movie obviously took inspiration from a lot of different sources. But yeah, I mean, like I've heard people refer to as like a cop version of World of Warcraft. Which, like, if you think about it, if you go to the
I would play that game. Like, give me that game.
If you think about the World of Warcraft like world, and then fast forward like 2,000 years, like.
I would play the shit out of that video game.
And everything.
As long as it's not made by EA, it will be good.
Yeah, no.
no. I
Somebody
mean,
hop on this chat,
Blizzard.
steal our idea, and make that game. Write the video game. I want it.
So we've talked a lot about all the good stuff. I want to talk more about the
bad
real,
stuff?
like not just like the kind of bad, but you can but like the really unforgivable. Because we got to go both sides.
Fake driving.
We had fake driving. The end state, the end of this movie was
predictable.
It's
bad.
Here's the thing: they did. I love the very ending where they're just like sitting there like, oh, we did.
Yeah.
Like that was so. I mean, it's cliche, but it's cliche like good 90s cliche.
Right.
But between there and then walking to the pool of life thing.
You mean the actual climax of the movie?
The actual climax of the movie was.
It was. I was less than whelmed.
I was whelmed. I was the right amount of whelmed.
I was barely whelmed.
Barely whelmed.
But yeah, like you said, it was predictable. We knew that he was going to grab the wand. We knew that he was going to save the day. I mean, it's a Will Smith movie. Obviously, he was going to save the day.
It's Will Smith.
Yeah, so that was very predictable. I wasn't angry with that because going in, I knew that's what was going to happen. Yes, I would have been happier if it had turned out to be different, as long as whatever was different was good.
Yeah.
But that didn't bother me so much. Like for me,
not every movie is going to be The Prestige or even Hancock.
Where
the climax is incredibly shocking and you don't see it coming. That being said, you can still do the predictable and not be disappointing, and I feel that movie did this. Yes, it was predictable. Yes, we saw it coming.
Yeah.
Did I feel like, well, fuck you, this movie was terrible at the end? No.
Yeah, because this is almost kind of like an argument that I have with Joe Elias. Like he says that spoilers don't really bother him because it's watching the movie, and for me it kind of depends on the movie because spoiler alert, Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis is dead. But if I knew that going into the movie, it would have changed the whole movie. It would have completely changed the entire movie for me.
The thing is, Joe says,
but going into a movie that that is obviously there's not going to be any major twist in it.
It's the difference
it doesn't
between
bother
a movie
me.
and a film.
Joe can say he doesn't care about spoilers, and the only reason he says that is because he sees everything first. You can't mind spoilers if you're the one spoiling. Fuck you, Joe.
But no, I like if someone spoiled a comedy for you, are you going to be like, what exactly are they going to spoil?
Well,
be like, hey, in this one scene, she falls down and hurts herself.
I think it's different by genre.
Yeah,
you said,
absolutely.
Like, Sixth Sense. Like, yeah, no, don't spoil that movie for me because I know that I'm going to see this thriller kind of movie.
Right.
You know, the first time I saw Friday the 13th, don't spoil it for me. It's a horror movie. I don't know who the killer is.
Right.
A buddy cop movie? You can't really spoil. It's a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, exactly.
The buddy cops win in the end.
So
shocked.
Yeah, that's why,
what's supposed to happen.
That's why predictable movies in that regard don't bother me at all.
It depends on the genre.
Yeah. Now, if they were building up to something that should have been a major twist and then it's not, then I'm gonna be disappointed. But there was nothing in this movie that led me to believe that there was going to be some major revelation at the end.
Let's see. The next thing that bothered me, bless you.
Sorry, there's another one coming.
The thing that bugged me, the feds, because like these feds, they look badass. They're superimposing this elf who's like this.
They were poorly developed.
They might have been more important than they were, and they were poorly developed.
I thought they were dirty. Like I thought.
Oh yeah, there was a moment where I thought that the elf Fed agent was going to be tied up with.
Yeah. That for me, that is one of those things where it didn't really build up to anything. It just didn't pay off anywhere. Like there was a minimal build up to, okay, these guys are like strong arming these people for something, and they're definitely heavily involved. And then it just doesn't go anywhere. It's like, nope, they're just doing their job.
That doesn't bother me too much. What bothers me is that they're completely useless the entire time. They were so useless.
No, you needed them to move the story along.
No,
they
yeah.
were useless because that interrogation scene. If we go back to the guy with the beard and the sword and the whatnot, they crammed a lot of exposition. In very quick scenes.
Yeah, but like if you look at the next time that they came in, when they were at the convenience store and the sheriff had come in and he was like, no, I'm gonna call the feds, and he calls the feds, and they're having that whole conversation about trying to get them to where they are. Like it felt like they should have been dirty there. Yeah, and that's something else.
I thought they were going to do more than they did, but they were definitely plot movers.
They were underutilized.
No, the thing is, they were used as the MacGuffin. For those who don't know what a MacGuffin is, it's literally a plot device that is supposed to move the story and doesn't do anything.
It's another Hitchcock reference.
Yeah,
and the thing is,
God, Hitchcock was a good movie.
And the thing is, with the MacGuffin, it's very like it wasn't even apparent that they were a MacGuffin until the.
You don't think?
No,
I thought I literally have that written down in my notes. Like they're moving the story. Okay, great.
Well, no,
that whole interrogation scene was just moving the movie along.
They are moving the movie along, but that's all they're good for. And I find their character ultimately, without this MacGuffin thing, completely useless. They drive around, they look imposing, they don't shoot anyone, they don't do anything. Like
I disagree with you. I think they hid necessary exposition in their scenes. I think if you cut out their scenes, then the movie would have felt more.
I think your problem is the same problem that I'm having. It's not they weren't a MacGuffin. It's just that both you and I thought that they were going to pay off in a different way than they actually did.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing building.
If you take them on face value, we needed them to tell parts of the story.
No. Like as a plot device, they were fine. As a collective characterization of this faction group of people, they didn't do shit. They didn't do anything. They didn't.
But if you look at this as set up for a sequel, they're definitely going to come back.
No, they're going to come back.
Yeah,
but for this, it's like they didn't shoot any gangsters. Their whole team got wrecked by these elves. They just seem bumbly in general.
Yeah, no, I think the thing with those characters is like I said, it just didn't pay off. So at the end, when they come in, they're standing over Will Smith in the hospital bed, and dude is just going off like this happened and this happened. This was really cool and that was really cool. And Will Smith is just like, shut up.
Wait for them to ask us questions.
Let them ask.
Let them ask us questions.
Oh, no.
Like that whole thing, and then where he's like, it was just a normal day.
I don't know anyone.
Yeah. Like for me, it was that lack of payoff there that kind of.
I actually like that part. I think that was
love that scene.
No, that's.
Oh, I thought that scene was great, but the fact that I wasn't waiting for anything else to happen with those characters up until that point, and then at the end, when like at least some sort of a threat or like something where it's just not Will Smith going, yeah, this is what they're looking for, and we're gonna give them the answer that they want, and then it just goes to them getting the medal. Like I feel like that was a little anticlimactic right there.
Maybe. I would say the next.
It was a movie, not a film.
Yeah.
I think the next thing that kind of bothered me, like as much as I love the gangsters and how they're very real and down to earth, I feel like there was a lot of punches pulled. I think that there was a lot of different things that they could do that could have been done better, like for the what was it called? The Alta. What was the name of that group?
Which ones? The
Poison
and his guys.
Yeah, the Alta Denta team or whatever.
Yeah.
The house, the Alta. Yeah.
They're like them just saying, "Okay, we're gonna chase you now." Like I feel like there could have been like so much done with character and action.
I don't know.
Had them do?
I think I actually liked those guys because they came in once. They were like, "Hey, we want the wand because I want to fucking walk again."
Yeah, I want to walk.
Yeah, no, that like I like that moment.
Like they're like obviously that guy was the leader of that group, so like that being his motivation, that was enough for me.
That was enough.
Yes, no, it's like there's definitely enough there.
I think you're looking for more, and you want it to be more fantastical, where you have to take that out because that's not a fantastic world to them. To them, it's normal. It's every fucking day.
No, I'm not.
That would be like us chasing around gold bars.
No.
I'm trying to think of the equivalent. But
if this was fantastical, we would be shitting all over this movie. And
yeah, no, that was commonplace.
Yeah. I think I see where you're coming from, and if it was a TV show or if this was something like a miniseries where it was like, okay, this was part 1 of 3.
Yeah, that'd be different.
And we had like another 4 hours of this to go. Definitely, if nothing else came of that, then yeah, I would agree with you. But in a 2-hour movie, I think they did fine with the time that they had.
The thing is, the gangster aspect is huge in this movie, and with the sequel, I want to see more of that. And when I mean more of that, I mean I want to see, because I'm sure they'll probably focus more on the elves and kind of more of the high society.
Actually, there you go. That's what I want to see in the sequel is a drug derived from some sort of magical product.
Magic. I would love that.
And the gangsters.
They need
that would be
like a
good.
True Blood with V or something like that element.
What I'm saying is I want to see more like high-class gangsters dealing with more of the inner workings of society,
like high-class, like Elvin,
Godfather type gangsters.
Yeah, like some mafia-ass gangster shit. I could see that being in the second movie. I'd love to see that.
I can see that, but considering that it's based on modern-day Los Angeles.
What? No, the thing is, if we're still trying to put this world in realism, I mean, it can't just be street gangs the entire time trying to go after wands. It's got to be. Wands.
Yeah. That's why. It doesn't necessarily. I don't think the stakes necessarily have to be higher in the next movie. They just have to be different.
They have to be different. Yeah. Chasing a wand again. We don't need to see that. We already saw it in this movie.
Well, I mean, we're still gonna have to have the magic proponent because the magic proponent is the catalyst for the Dark Lord and everything else. Like magic.
But what if but they don't need to bring the Dark Lord into the next movie?
They will though. I mean,
but they don't need to.
They don't need to, but they will.
They could make it a complete because that's the thing with the elves. What if the next movie doesn't focus on the elves?
Here's what's gonna happen. The second movie, the Dark Lord arrives. The third movie, they attack the Dark Lord. Like that's what's gonna. I mean, if we're talking formula here, that's what's gonna
happen. I don't know. I think that storyline played out as far as it needed to in this movie. They stopped it from happening.
Well, what's bigger than the Dark Lord?
Why does there need to be something bigger than the Dark Lord? Why can't there just be something different than the Dark Lord?
Yeah.
Because the Dark Lord has already been so established in this movie, it would be really dumb to just drop this in the hole and go after something different. The only thing I could see different is maybe like a civil war, which would be even still kind of formulaic, or dealing with...
I would love to see like a color style movie between like the elves and the orcs and the Mexican gang and the black gang. Like if you gave me colors but with magic.
Dude, the Mexican gang just got wrecked. They don't exist anymore.
Nah, they were humans.
Give me colors but with magic. That's what I want in the sequel.
Colors with magic. Yeah, or as Big Dolly says, Sons of Anarchy Bright version.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's what I want.
Can you dig it? No.
Warriors. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't personally. I don't think the stakes need to be raised. I just think it needs to be different.
Different, yeah.
Okay, so if it's different and it still stays in the world and still stays in this kind of grounded, localized area, like let's say you were the one directing, how would you make it different?
We just told you.
A different story.
No, Sons of, no, I get it. I mean, like
colors, but with magic.
Here you go. There's a drug that that's being derived from some sort of either magical creature or magical product or something unicorn blood, sure. That's being passed around with the humans, and it's causing the humans to either deform into like weird zombie things, or I don't know.
Have you ever seen anybody on bath salts? That's
exactly.
No, what if this happened? Like they create this magic concoction instead of like these ones that give you all the wishes you want. But this magic only gives you. No.
Because I don't think those stakes are any higher than what was here. But that was a good movie. The stakes were fine. If they give us a movie like Dread, in this world.
Because that was like, this movie was kind of like SWAT or anything else David Ayer did,
exactly.
So if you gave me Dread, but with magic, I'm there for that.
Yeah.
You'll have to explain that to me after the show.
It's a drug thing.
I get it's a drug thing, but like, so these wands, they create wishes as far as we know. What if like this drug gave you like one wish? Like just one wish. And now everyone's trying to take this drug, and all these wishes are just getting out of control. And so the police are trying to round up.
What if it just made you think that you got the one wish? So like
and
it's like I wish I could fly, and then people just like start jumping out the window.
So like an illusion. So like an illusion
movie,
thing.
yeah.
So then why not just it be LSD? I don't understand. There's LSD on the street, guys. That's what that sounds like to me.
I mean, but it's
LSD,
magic.
but
It's
with
magic.
elves.
It's magic LSD. It's like it's created by like shaving off the points of elves' ears or something. I don't know.
Grounding down when he ground out his tooth.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It'll be like what was it? Pacific Rim, where like the different parts of the kaiju do different things.
Okay, so my next question is, if you had any mythical creature in the next film, what would you want it to be? What would you want to see in this world? They already have dragons. It's already casual.
Minotaurs.
They already had centaurs, but that is
Good
cool.
answer.
What would they do? What's their like clan thing?
They're herds. They're just like nomadic or whatever. So maybe here you go. Maybe that's the thing. Minotaurs or centaurs. No, it could be centaurs are being kept as slaves to do manual labor.
Ooh, better yet, Minotaur fight clubs.
Minotaur
fight clubs.
What's the first rule of Minotaur Fight Club?
Don't talk about it and watch your horns. Those are really
there you go. Okay, here's what I want. I want a 1980s style underground fight movie set in bright. So like I want like Billy Blanks to come out and save the day.
Or some we need Jai White. That's who we need.
We
need Jai White. What about you? Who would you be your mythical? And what would they do?
I would want to see some really great human witches, like a badass coven, who they're just the best human witches and the best at doing magic that they can, but yet they're still getting their ass kicked by elves because they weren't born with it.
Or maybe what if like hybrid human elves are outlawed because they're like some kind of like crazy super powerful like magic
some real racist shit with like interbreeder species.
Yeah, and now we find one of them.
What was that movie with Samuel L. Oh yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell, but with magic.
That was that Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
No, literally the one where he says that when it's like really racist and his daughter got raped and it's all about racism. Was that movie?
Was that like the
with
Terrace?
Magic? No, God.
I don't remember which one you're talking about.
It's got Matthew McConaughey in it.
I don't know that movie.
You've had to see this movie.
Probably. The only movie where Samuel L. Jackson is like really
Time to Kill. That's where I was with the Google machine. A Time to Kill.
Yeah.
I want A Time to Kill, but with magical racism.
So let's see, if my mythical creature, big giant arachnids.
Oh fuck you!
No,
fuck you, Sam.
Big giant arachnids. Hold on.
No.
And they work as like dock workers. Like I feel like that'd be a great like job for a spider mafia basically. And nothing, like they're kind of like Teamsters. Nothing moves without us, kind of thing. And so they'd have to like go down and deal with like the shipment of the drugs, and it's these fucking spiders that are moving the product.
So I'm gonna interrupt you there for a second. Something Anna Miles just asked that made me realize something that we never actually got into what the actual like overall plot of this movie. We talked about what the plot is.
We've been talking for an hour and we haven't talked about the plot of this
but we
movie.
haven't actually discussed what the plot was.
You want to take it away?
Sure. So basically, the overall plot of this movie is like we've been discussing for the past 45 minutes now, is that we live in a world where orcs and elves and other magical creatures have evolved alongside humans, and now there is this magical object, a wand, that gets out into the open, and the police force is either corrupt or trying to take it, which is what Will Smith and his partner are trying to keep it away from the people who are trying to do nefarious things with it. This little girl, Lucy Fry, was that?
Yeah, Lucy Fry.
Lucy Fry's character, Layla.
Layla was the name of her character.
Layla turned against the elves that are trying to bring back this Dark Lord, and now she's under
Not Voldemort, a different Dark Lord.
Yes, now she's under the protection of Jacoby and Ward.
All right. Now that you guys are all catch up, can I talk about them spiders though? Like,
Please, no.
like I just imagine these like big spiders with Boston accents, just like doing longshoreman stuff. Like, hey,
you gotta go park the car.
Go, get that fucking box over there. And it's like they're just slinging webs and throwing them around and stuff. Like, it'd be so cool. Like, and that's kind of, it's probably one of the best things. It's what
I do not accept that.
it's actually one of the coolest things I love about this hopefully series.
But why spiders though?
It's just different. It's a different.
Why not like roaches?
I don't know why minotaurs.
Oh God, the didn't work. Stop. No more bugs. No bugs.
Why minotaurs? Why whatever the hell you said? You know, witches.
Do you look at the way that I dress? Have you seen how I dress? Of course, I want more witches.
Right, they're actually magic. Now, spiders are just gross.
Needless to say, okay. Last question. Score out of 10. What do you give it?
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
Solid 7. Solid.
I'd say 6.5.
I'll give it 7. I'll give it a 7 as is, and then I'll give it like an 8 for its potential, because I think that they're gonna get the bugs out of this one, and then they're gonna get the feedback, and then they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna get that one.
If the next movie is better, I think it will improve my perception of this one.
Yeah. But like I said, solid 7. If I had paid for this at a matinee, I would not have been upset.
Yeah, and again, like I said, this being on Netflix.
I paid nighttime press, because I saw Chronicle at nighttime, and I wasn't mad about that.
Chronicle was good though.
Chronicle was good.
I like Chronicle.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Where can we find you?
You can find me at Lambertra. That's LAMBERTRAA on all social media. Lambertra.com, my own website, etc., etc.
You can find me here on Pop Culture Renegades. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can at the Goldman. And that's really about it for me. I don't really use Instagram.
You can find me at Slammy Sammy Lock at the Instagrams, on the Twitters. You can find me at Steam Buddy Productions, where I do comedy stuff sometime. I'm currently working on something called Season Deliver, which is a Star Wars fan fiction film series. Yeah, we're doing. It's about bounty hunters. It's super cool. And you can find me here at Pop Culture Renegades, doing Star Wars, Star Trek, anything sci-fi stuff.
What do we got coming up?
What do we got coming up?
Later today, back on that hashtag show is going to be After Dark. Migdalia, Joe, and Daniel are going to be watching Santa's Sleigh, the best movie ever starring Bill Goldberg. Probably the only movie ever starring Bill Goldberg. And then next week here on PCR we have Black Mirror Season 4, which is premiering on Netflix. I don't know how we're going to break that down. We might do a single episode, or we might break it down into 2 or 3 episodes.
That show depresses me.
It gets real scary real fast.
It's depressing. It isn't scary. I feel dirty watching it almost. That's how it makes me feel at the end.
Common Writer is on hiatus right now. I think they're taking next week off as well, and we'll be back in the new year. Also, we'll be back with the Riker Maneuver when Star Trek starts up again on January 6th, I believe.
Well, that's early. Yeah. Woo!
Yes. I think that's all the things. We're going to be very busy.
All the things.
We're going to be very busy in the coming year. Again,
and the Doctor Who Christmas special. We'll be doing we will be doing an episode of that.
Whoops.
Well, that's not going to be us though.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and hey, if you guys have any ideas of what kind of mythical creatures you would want in this series, go ahead and talk about it on our Facebooks, on our YouTubes, Twitters, and everything else. We're always listening.
Yeah. After we end the stream, go ahead and let us know in the comments what else you guys want to see, what you guys thought of the movie.
With that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching us here at Pop Culture Renegades.
See you later, guys.